Hello and welcome back to Ocean's Garden. How you guys doing? Is the weather treating you good where you are? Because right now we are having lots of rain and the garden could not be even more happy because the last few days were quite hot. So today I wanted to touch on something really important to me that I unfortunately learned really late in my in my journey, the planification of your seedlings and the planification of your growing seasons in general. So when I started growing, when I was a teenager with my mom, we were only doing the summer season. And today I'm here to tell you we have 3 seasons in Quebec, even though it's hard to believe. So depending on where you are in Quebec, we have April through May or June, where we can grow cool season crop. And personally, I kind of really like the cool seasons because it's a lot of variety that you don't really know exists, but then you start researching for it and you're like, oh, okay, I can grow a lot of things between 5 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius. And honestly, you have to look into it. The only problem between April and June is we have weird temperature in the last few years. What I mean is, on the 20th of May, it was 29 degrees Celsius, which means all my spinach bolted, even though I tried to sprinkle them with water and try to regulate the temperature for them. It just didn't do. They bolted away, which was unfortunate because now I just had to harvest everything I had in the one swoop, and I could not enjoy the harvest. I just put them in my freezer. I did keep a little bit of the spinach so I could eat fresh with my husband, but let's be honest, in 1 week I cannot eat like 8. I think I had like 20 cups of spinach just in one big club. So yeah, no, I did not eat 20 cups of spinach into 1 week. And when I say 20 cups, it's like compressed down. So the volume was much bigger than that. Um, so as I was saying, we have 3 seasons. We have April through June, and then where we have our warm season, which is June through, let's say, August, because warm season is where we can grow our tomatoes, pepper, eggplants, you name it. Everybody wants the warm season fruits. They're the best. Um, and then we have another cool season. Again, it depends on the region you are in, but it can go from August to October. Depending on where you are gonna move 2 weeks before or 2 weeks after what I just said. You'll have to look into your weather patterns, because yeah, there's patterns in our weather. Even though that we had the El Nino this year, so it was kind of hard to predict what could go out when. But I digress. So, in my region, our last average frost date is around 1st of May to May 10. May 10, I think. So we have like a 10 days where they're not too sure if we're gonna have frost or not. And this year, we didn't get any frost in May. If you go on the government website for the weather, you can go and see the archives of what were the highest, the lowest, and the average temperature. I look at that website before the video, and I didn't see any frost. We didn't go under 0 degrees Celsius in the month of May. We did in April, but not in May. So that's for our last average frost date. And for our first frost date, we have, for my region, it is from the 21st September through the 30th September. So with those 2 dates, which I made an average, so 5th of May and the 25th of September, we have a whooping 143 days where we can grow things. Yeah, that's not a lot of days if you're thinking of growing any type of squash or melons. You really have to look into how many days it takes to grow those things, otherwise you won't have a fruit. You'll just have beautiful greenery in your garden. We have 143 days. Let's say 43 days is when you start, is April through June. So we have, let's say, 100 days once we get in the warm weather. And then we have to remove, and then you have to deduct like the month of September, which is another 30 days. We're left with around 70 days to 80 days for a warm season. It's not a lot. Most of the tomatoes I saw that we can grow are over 70 days, which means you really have to be cautious on when you start your seedling. When do you plant them out? Because whenever you're gonna plant them, they have 1 to 2 weeks acclimatization to their new growing conditions, and that's another 14 days that you're removing from your season. With that in mind, you have to start looking on when is your average last frost date, and whenever you know your last average frost date, what is the earliest that you don't have any snow on the ground? For us, it was mid-April. We did not have any snow on my beds. So I started to introduce my seedlings to the cold weather of the outside weather. When we had the eclipse this year, which was on the 8th of April, I was able to put out my cool season crop outside so they can get acclimated to the cold and also the sun, because let's be honest, growing under grow light and then just putting them outside is quite a shock for them, and you don't want to stress them out too much because you're not gonna see the damage you're creating by causing a lot of stress. But the plant is gonna slow down its growth or just stop growing altogether. So the plant's gonna stop until the weather is perfect for its genetic. Let's say that. Let's say that like that. So once you're acclimated your plants, it's gonna take 1 to 2 weeks for them to adjust to the growing condition that they are in, and then they are gonna start growing. Depending on what you chose to put in the ground, well, you'll have a 30 to 60 days where they're gonna grow. There's other crops that you can put in quite early on that are gonna grow all season long, so you have to account for them and plant around them. So I put in like 150 onions or something like that. That whole bed is gonna be taken until next September. It's a long way. And once the onions are gonna get out of the beds, we're already already gonna be another cool season. So I have to plan for another cool crop. So you have to think about how many days is it going to be in the ground, and is there any crop I'd like to go after that is short enough to go there. When I say short enough is it's gonna need to be under 60 days, because if it takes more than 60 days it's a long season crop, and you should have planned better because it will have time to grow. So that's it for the planification. I do recommend today to go ahead and have a look on, type in your region, average last frost date, and then your first frost date. Use your calculator on your computer, on your phone, and do the difference between days. With that, you'll have the amount of days you have in your season, and with that information, you'll be able to really go through, and you're gonna choose the right seeds for your region. With all the information I just gave you about the length of the season, the cool season, warm season, cool season, when the average of when the cool season and warm season begins, you have a better idea of what you can grow when. And now, in the cool season, when we talk about cool season, it is under 20 degrees Celsius. If you go on the website of, depending on your seed suppliers, sometimes they do tell you if, sometimes they do tell you what's the maximum temperature as a crop can tolerate of, or on the other side they tell you how cold they can get. And with that information you'll be able to see what's better for your region in the cool season, and then what's better in the warm season. Again, you can cheat the cool and warm season with a structure like a cold frame or something like that, because it's gonna keep more heat within at night. So nighttime temperature are enemies in this situation, and that's why you have to be really cautious. So once you look into when you look at your seed provider, there's a few families that you could plant in the cool season, such as the Brassica family, the Allium family. Those are going to tolerate a lot of the cold weather we're gonna have. There's a lot of other things, but I don't necessarily know the families of them, but everything that is lettuce in. So a lot of root crops, the brassicas and the alliums, are three crops that are going to tolerate some really cold weather, and even could even survive some frost damage. As a matter of fact, my broccoli went in April. There was a snowfall and quite cold temperature at night. I think the coldest we had was -5. I did have some frost cloth over it, but it still got really cold. And as you can see in the May garden door, they're doing fine now. So you don't have to be too paranoid about the weather condition. They can take it. But I wouldn't put a tomato in when the nights are gonna be under 10 degrees Celsius, because I know it's gonna stagger the growth, and the longer it takes for my tomato to grow, the more chance I don't get any fruit. So I'm not risking it. This year I decided to put alliums and brassica in super early, so my thirst of putting my hands in the ground and playing in dirt was met. So yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a thumbs up. Did you learn something today or anything interesting that you didn't know? If you did, comment down below and let me know what you learned. On that, have a great weekend. Bye.